Okay, so I did Granville Stanley Hall. Born February 1st, 1846. He was born in Ashford, Massachusetts. Grew up on a farm. I really couldn't find much on his early childhood, except that he was a very talented, bright young kid. He liked to read and music. And that at age 16, he started teaching his class, and even though most of his classmates were older than him, from the fall of '63 to the spring of '67 were spent at Williams College. There he found some literature over philosophy, and that's where he decided to pursue that more. He graduated in 1867. After he graduated, he went to Germany to study for about 3 years at Bonn, and then he went to Berlin. He returned to America in 1871. After in '72, he started teaching literature at Antioch College for a bit. Then he moved on to teach English at Harvard and awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. He was actually the first American to ever have that awarded to him. But after he graduated, he left again to Germany to study for about another 3 years because he just there weren't enough jobs in his study in America at that time, so he just decided to go to Germany to study more. And I mean, even along his life, he keeps on going back to Germany because he's just very interested in what was going on over there with the whole study. So he returned again in 1882, and after a couple of successful lectures he had given at Johns Hopkins and Harvard, he secured a position in the philosophy department of Johns Hopkins. He taught there till about 1888. In '87, Paul founded the American Journals of Psychology, and he left Johns Hopkins because he was going to be the president of Clark University in '89, and he stayed there till 1920. So just pretty much the rest of his life he was there at Clark University. In 1992, he was awarded and named president of the American Psychological Association, which that is one of his big contributions to psychology. His interests focused on childhood development and evolutionary theory. He wrote a couple books too. He wrote one in 1917, Jesus Christ in the Light of Psychology, which is pretty much describing Jesus through the eyes of a psychologist and how he would put it. In 1922, he published another book, Senses, a Book of Agony, which was a bit more successful than his first book. His first book wasn't very successful at all. He was very interested in Darwin's theory of evolution, so therefore he started studying the inheritance of behavior. What that is pretty much, it was his belief a child's development and their mental capability of their brain developing like their ancestors was, to the same way as developing over ions. He believed men and women should be separated into their own schools during puberty. He believed that the women should be separated so they could focus more on how to be a mother and take care of a house and things like that. And men more on hand, learning how to take care of a family. And obviously, he believed that the children at that time would develop different habits and behaviors through their puberty, and that would dismiss that if they were separated. Early psychologist in the field of he was an early psychologist in the field of animalistic psychology. That pretty much is the belief of something supernatural happening around you. Amy Tanner from Clark University was a colleague of Hall. They were notable debunkers of spiritualism. Spiritualism is the pretty much that they try to contact or communicate with spirits, and that was kind of big at that time in the 1900s. It started coming up pretty big. So Hall and Amy started doing these different experiments or tests, the psychological, physiological tests, and ended up proving that it wasn't capable of doing that. And Tanner ended up writing a book about it, and Hall had a big impact on it because he wrote a book as well. So after they did that, they went to Piper. Piper was this lady that was pretty well known about speaking or communicating with the dead, pretty much, with spirits. And they ended up writing this book and calling her a fraud, that she was manufacturing all these incidents and stuff that she was known for. What he's most known for today is supervising the 1896 study of peculiar and expectational children. It's pretty much, he thought that, he believed that single children were oddballs, and they were forever be permanently misfits, because he said being an only child is a disease in itself, he claimed. He pretty much, what he thought was that if a single child wouldn't be able to adjust with different changes that went on in their life, to compare to a child that had siblings. And that was pretty much what he thought of that. He had a lot of success in advising many doctoral students who have made great contributions to psychology. He also mentored the first African American to get a PhD in psychology, Francis Cecil Sumner, and he died April 24th, 1924, in Massachusetts. And I actually forgot a little bit. Okay, so this picture was taken at the university. That's he actually invited Sigmund Freud to the university to have a big conference because he was because he believed in his sexist theory and stuff, sex theory. So he got him to come over. It was the first time in America, and his only time that he came to America. It was also the biggest conference that they've ever had there. And yeah.
Not bad.
So
So Freud's the one on the left with the cane.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, questions?